the whole thing about cash, right? Like people say, oh, like the risk-free return right now is 5%. And I think that's more like return-free risk. You buy a bond, right? Whatever inflation is, if it's higher than the return on the bond, you're
They get a bond and they think they're making a few percent. And in reality, you might be making a negative. Year-to-date S&P index is up 9.47%. Bloomberg aggregate bond index, 1.03%. That's without factoring in inflation. So whatever your bond yield is, you're getting a negative return, then you're getting an extra negative return. Whatever the inflation rate is, you'd have to subtract that from your already negative return. And that's the stated inflation rate, not the real inflation rate.
Yep.
It's not real inflation. That's the propaganda number that the government puts out. They call the consumer price index, which is nonsense. Since the 70s, they started to veer away from reality and put more and more layers of distortion in there to minimize what the real inflation rate is. They can pretend that the economy still looks good while running up the national debt to 34, 35 trillion.